ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our next installment of our tour campaign, or the One Wing campaign. Book 2, Chapter 5, entitled The Hunt Begins. We're missing, who are we missing today? The Bad Archer. Raven. The worst elf archer ever. But he will be sorely missed. He has real life stuff going on, but that's cool. All right, here we go. And so it was that in the dead of night, treachery turned its gluttonous gaze on the Fellowship. For in those days, some number of men of Tyrant's Hill had turned to evil. It's Humboldt's helm splitter chief among them. The heroes tended their wounds after this battle and saw to the injured. They buried the dead and searched the keep for more clues. It was not an hour before dawn that Modred speaks out. "Lo! You! Captain of the West, man of Gondor, halfling and elves and dwarves and dwarf lords." And he approaches you, holding this weathered, leather-bound journal in his hands. Dried blood on his hands, and he opens it up and he says, "This is most interesting. You need to take a look at this. It's the diary of Helmsplitter himself. Here, read it. It seems to me that a shadow had fallen on my men some time ago, though I was blind to it. It is ever the case in these days of the darkening of the wood that my judgment is clouded." Then Mogdred falls into gloomy rumination as one of the heroes reads Humboldt's journal. So we did this after the camera cut off last time, so this is the finding of Humboldt's journal. And you can RP a little bit and I can let somebody read it.
So Vidar is just wide-eyed, looking as he's handing the journal over to someone, and he's just kind of following it, very curious about what the journal says.
Goody stands beside Mogdred and says, "Worry not, Master Mogdred. In these times, it is hard to discern friend from foe. It is not your fault that your men turned on us."
Mogdred shuts the journal and plumes of dust come from it. He hands it to the halfling. He says, "The hearts of men are easily turned, halfling. I was nearly there myself. But in your people and your company, I sense stouter hearts and calmer minds. Minds perhaps not so easily tempted by treasure." And he looks about the castle keep. "And power. I give this to you, halfling. Make its contents known to your men."
Goody bows deeply as he accepts the journal, opens it and starts reading it.
You can read from the thing, or there's text below it.
Oh, okay. April 1st. We've been trudging along these bleeding paths for days. No orcs, no spiders, no enemies. Mogdred is full of dung, if you ask me. I only ask that it stops raining. As Goody reads it, and he, as he comes to the line where Mogdred is full of dung, if you ask me, he kind of lowers his voice and doesn't read out really loud. Doesn't want to,
Mogdred kind of has a little sneer on his face.
April 2nd, it is still raining. April 3rd, it is still raining. Wheezy Jeb better quit breathing like a billy goat in heat, or he might just end up with my knife between his ribs. April 4th, it stopped raining. We finally spied an orc patrol heading north through the marshes that surround Fenbridge. We let them pass, but boy, did we smell them. And at that, Goody kind of pauses and gives Mogdred a quizzical look, giving a moment if anybody has questions about that event to Mogdred. Seeing that there are none, he continues. April 7th. Upon the journey home, we came across a felled orc. His throat was cut, and we found a note tucked in the wound. A ghastly sight. Gives me the creeps. Says to stay away from Fenbridge. Alas, too late for that. Lord Mogdred's men don't frighten easily. April 9th. Never before have I been more frightened in my life. Last night, after dusk, our company was approached by a rider in all in black. Such dread. I trembled as he approached and he spoke. His voice hissed like a snake, and hardly could I stand as I listened to his words. He asked about halflings and offered his friendship. Goody swallows when he says that. Aye, but it would be only a fool who would trust such a rider. Due to our collective bewilderment, we cowed and agreed to capture and bring to Fenbridge any halfling we find. Alas, we can't arrive home soon enough. I have no intention of serving such a fellow. April 10th. The rider appeared again tonight, but with him he brings riches. Perhaps he will keep our eye out. After all. We return home on the morrow, and Lord Mogdred need not know a thing. With that, Goody closes the journal and looks up at the group.
Mogdred, you see here my most trusted captain, even though I did need to put a fork through his hand. Betrayed me as soon ago as April. And right now, if you players can remember, it's, I believe it is July 10th. If I pull up the timeline here. Yep, July 10th. It's July 10th of 3014 of the Third Age.
Arvel kind of leans forward and presses his hair out of his eyes and says, "It matters not now. There's only one thing we must focus on, and that is returning to Rivendell. Mogdred, you can come with us if you wish. But we will return. We have learnt what we have come to see, and it is time to report to Lord Elrond and deliver Goody back to safety."
Mogdred kind of looks to think for a while, and there are some small number of remaining men of Tyrant's Hill. These are outcasts of the woodmen and whatnot, but those who did not fall to shadow. And Mogdred says, "I could not rightfully flee this land and live with myself thereafter. With your leave, I would like to take my men and return to the narrows of the wood. Any righteous woodmen that there remain, I think they need to be warned. If we do not stand and fight, at least we can flee to the north, or to Roscabel, or even further into the lands of Beorn or the Anduin Vales. For surely there we should be safe from this creeping darkness."
Of course, as you wish it. Question: What was Ghost's old character's name? You're on a blank here. Olma. And Arvel says Olma has also left. Hopefully she is spreading the word as well. And he looks over to Grimmer and Master Dwarf. Will you be accompanying us north?
Well, seeing as my business here is quite done, no more a contract for me. This expression is that I suppose going north with you is better than going nowhere at all.
Very well. You know Vidar, and Vidar knows you, so welcome to our fellowship, I suppose.
Pleasure to be a part of it, lad. Looking forward to, well, whatever we're doing.
And Vidar kind of just looks over and nods at Grimoire and says, "Oh, hey, welcome. I think you're going to like this group." And then he pulls his mattock off the back and he kind of whispers over to Goody, more of a low talk. He says, "Oi, Master Hobbit, do you see this?" And he holds out the mattock.
Indeed. Vidar,
Don't you worry about anything coming for you. It's got to get through this to get to you. You have my word.
I shall follow you. Though I worry for my sake, I may endanger you all. But nonetheless, the fellowship will stand together, come what may.
Mogdred nods as well and somberly says to the halfling, and your presence will be kept safe from all ears that listen and eyes that spy in these woods. For there are only few of us that remain, and we will take your secret to the grave if need be, halfling.
Arvel kind of thinks about that for a moment. He says, We appreciate this, though. Perhaps you should begin starting rumors that the halfling went somewhere we are not going. You know these woods better than we do. Send the enemy on a wild goose chase.
The captain of the West. He has a plan. Modred rubs his chin, and a rather clever one at that. What exactly do you suggest?
Somewhere not populated. It won't get anyone in trouble if the enemy does follow our ruse. But something plausible. Something perhaps that might signify we are fleeing in another direction.
Very well.
He thinks for a moment.
All we meet will know of a halfling. A halfling that flees, what do you say, to Dale?
He kind of considers that. I am not sure I would wish to put that on the people of Dale. Perhaps, though, more...
Don't want to throw Dale under the bus.
What's that?
Don't want to throw Dale under the bus.
Yeah, but he has another idea. Something closer, something wiser and stronger, and he kind of looks over to Aglaron. The people, the elves of the wood. Brandul, king, would be able to stand up to any shadow that would approach him, I would think.
Aglaron nods and says, "The forest walls that keep our kingdom safe are thick indeed. They are strong, they are tall. They can stand against this darkness for a time. Although if tale be told, no one can stand against the Dark Lord in his full might. But as his emissary, I will speak for Thranduil and say we will do what it takes to keep this land safe and spare the halfling's life, for it seems to me that the fate of this hobbit and others, or those that are hunted, may rule the fate of many. The Woodland Realm will do its part in this quest."
Aravel nods. I hope that the enemy knows that we have an elf among us from the Woodland Realms. This would be an easy way to trick any of his watchful servants. Margaret, I would ask that you spread this rumor that we head deeper into the forest.
I will do this. Again, anyone we meet will know of the elf, the halfling, and their destination. Northern Mirkwood in the woodland realm of Thranduil King.
Narvel nods.
And at this point, the attack happened in the middle of the night. The fighting took place, and you kind of cleaned up the survivors, treated the wounded, so it's still dark out, but it's getting towards dawn. And in the east, you start to see the faint glow of light, but it's not quite what you expect.
Narvel kind of stands and looks to the horizon, back to Barondir and Vidar particularly. We should make haste. We're already deep south, and it will take us many days to return to Rivendell. We should not tarry. Prepare yourselves.
I shall be ready, my liege. Haste is what you want, haste is what you shall have.
Mirkwood is a queer place. The land itself lends itself to the mood of those who inhabit its eaves. And an insidious evil has crept into the wood in these days. And thus it is that though dawn comes, on that morning there is no light sun rising into the blue sky. Instead, whispers of dread float on a chill wind, even though it's summer. And it is as if the already dense forest becomes even more dense, dank, and oppressive. Certainly, the heroes were no longer welcome. Black and billowing clouds roll across the sky as the morning approaches and stretch their sinewy fingers from the south, blotting out rays of the new day's sun. Far away, a hazy cloud of bats can be seen circling and then speeding away. And I would like everyone to make a corruption check at 14 as the sun seems almost blotted out by this mysterious weather.
Are we, so, hello housekeeping, are we still at our endurance, what we were after the fight, or we?
Yep, so after the fight, excuse me, after the fight, after a half hour, which you guys have had, everyone regains their basic heart score back in endurance. So Erevu, who's pretty beat up.
Yep, I'm up to 15 now.
Yep. Yeah, your heart would be 6, so you would get 6.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can adjust their sheets. I'm looking down through. I don't see anybody. You're by far the most injured, aren't you?
Probably. I'm wary still by 3.
You're not wounded, then. I don't think you're wounded though.
No, I never got one. So do we need to do fellowship stuff? Like fellowship
yeah. That's on my to-do list is to dole out fellowship points from last time. That never happened. So yeah, you have 7 of them because you have a hobbit in your party. I'm looking down through Hope.
I'm good. I don't need any.
Goody. You're down to 4?
No, I should be at 11.
Oh, 11. Okay, no, never mind. I was looking at your bubbles wrong.
What do the bubbles represent again?
I just have, it's more for my reference. I want you guys still to change everything on the sheet. Just so I can quickly look at it. The red bubble is your endurance. 8, the green one is basically your encumbrance plus fatigue or whatever. And the green is your hope. I have a macro. I just click on this PC setup button and it updates it from your sheet. That way I don't have to pull up everybody's sheet.
You mean blue is
Blue
the
is
hope.
hope, yeah.
Blue is hope, correct. Sorry. Yeah. So lowest on hope would be Aravul as well. You guys have 7 to play with.
I'm staying out and shit. I have 8 out of 9.
I'll take like 2 to start with. That's okay.
Mhm. So you have 5 left.
Vidar, Berendir.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking 1. Just take me to 8 out of 9. I don't need it to be full, but I don't want it to be, you know.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm 8 out of 13. I wouldn't mind going up to 10.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess the question is, what is everybody's shadow hanging around?
It's a 0 for this guy.
Yeah.
Nothing so far.
I have
What's
1.
Aglaron's hope?
Aglaron has 10. He's in good shape, I think.
Yeah, I'm only
I have-
4. Good.
I have 4 shadow on me.
Yeah, I do
You have
too.
4 shadow.
I do too. Yeah.
Holy.
So you have what? I think you have 1 left now. But in the
Yeah,
back,
I'll take that 1.
2
then.
left.
Yeah, you take it. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll take the 2. Okay.
I took 2. Goody took 1. Vidar took 1. Berendir
You know,
took 1.
I can drop back down to 7 and
No, keep
put
going.
another one in the pool.
yeah, you need to hope. If you miss Vidar, you need to hope.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh well, yeah, that's true.
We
I,
used 6 out of 7 hope, spreading it around
Mhm.
just now, so there's 1 left.
is this wisdom or valor?
I'll
What?
take take the other hope since I'm only 4 away.
Okay.
So I'll
You mean
take
the check,
3.
the corruption check, Doc? It's wisdom.
Okay.
So I got 1, not 2.
Ooh.
What did you want? Did you want to?
If you need it, go ahead.
I mean, I don't care. I'm
No,
only,
you took 2.
Barondir he needs hope too, because if he can't pull off his
Yeah. Okay.
So 2 for Barondir,
2
1
for me.
for... Yeah, 2 for you, 2 for Goody, 1 for Vidar. That's 7.
that's 7.
That's fine. Let's do that.
So Vidar takes 1. So you go to.
I moved it already.
You did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we're set. We're set from that standpoint. Okay, Ghost. Ghost gets a shadow.
Corruption is what? Valor or wisdom?
It's wisdom. Aravul gets a shadow.
Because I am tired.
16, right? Target number?
14.
Can I use a hope to?
Ooh!
Oh no.
Oh.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Oh.
Why don't you raise the bubble on that by 1 there?
Oh.
Good God Almighty.
Wait, who are you talking to?
Cypher raised the eye awareness by 1.
Yeah, item.
Question: Is there when you make a corruption check? Is there any way you can use hope to bump
I
something?
believe you can.
What is the attribute?
For wisdom
Mhm.
would be
Is it wits or something, or heart?
let me look. I have a little cheat sheet on it. It's been a while.
The eye saw a hobbit.
Mm-hmm. I have something for that. Once you're done.
Corruption, wisdom. A true bonus is heart.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a hope because I don't want a shadow.
I can't pass it.
So you took 1.
I didn't.
Ghost did.
Yeah, it did.
And goody.
Goody has hope to spare. Although his shadow's creeping.
Yeah, so I rolled an eye, so is that just 1 point of shadow or does it become worse with something else?
Just do
That's
one for now.
Okay, and that goes under the temp. Okay, so it's 5. Okay, I have some RP for that. Once we're done, I can.
Go ahead.
Yep. So as he sees Arabil kind of stand up and look towards the sky, and he says he asks Vidar and Berendi to be ready for what's to come. Goody was kind of sitting by like a few broken wooden boxes on the ramparts, and when he sees them kind of looking towards the sky, his natural curiosity just, he can't keep it bottled up. He stands up as well, and on his tippy toes, he just starts looking, and he sees the sky. He realizes what lays before them, this journey that they're undertaking. He realizes that first time that he's been in this fellowship, that he of all people can bring ruin to it, because he of all people is something that the enemy is searching. And as he sees those bats kind of flying out, his heart sinks a little deeper, a little further, after the loss of his friend and what happened here last night. He looks around, and if Mogdred's there and everybody else is on the ramparts, he kind of says, through the serpentine path, concealed from eyes, tries to walk the courageous heart towards a destination unknown, numerous fangs ready to bite, to inject venomous intent and incapacitate the heart. Seeking the unachievable, we brave hearts dodge hurdles. We stare down fear itself. An arduous journey will take its toll. Small sacrifices will be needed to reach the pinnacle. None have been here before, and our deeds will be written in folklore. Valiant ones who walk down the path, none dare to tread before. I'm truly sorry, gentlemen, that I may be bringing dark days ahead on this fellowship. With that, Goody kind of sinks back down and stares at his feet, lost in thought.
You keep your chin up, Master Hobbit. We're a fellowship. We're all going to work together. We're going to make it. We're going to get back to Rivendell. Master Elrond, he's going to let us know what needs to be done.
Arvel
I
kind
shall
of
cling to your confidence, Vidar, these dark times.
Arvel kind of just looks down at Goody and kneels down in front of him and puts a hand on his shoulder and gives a smile and says, "We have Vidar to protect us after all. We'll be fine. Come, do you think you can walk?"
I shall
Then,
walk
let's see your...
in your shadow, Arabil, to the ends of this earth. Whatever needs to be done, I'll be there.
He kind of chuckles. We're not going so far, I don't think. Come on. Get up. Let's go. We have no time to waste. And
Goodie's
Arvel...
off to his feet.
Yeah. Arvel just begins to grab his stuff and get ready to go. And he looks to Aglaron and says, "Aglaron, could you outpace us and scout the way?"
If it is your wish, my captain, I will do so. My feet are swift and sure, and though these roots are gnarled and twisted and evil, I think they still know the way.
Good.
Besides, and he looks at you and gives a grin, kind of reminiscent of Arthaner, says, "I need not sleep, and I grow not weary, unlike the likes of you folk."
Good, then go.
Vidar kind of looks at him and laughs. And I'm guessing your knee is just a little bit better than Barondir's here. And he looks at Barondir and laughs.
Aglaron says, yes, indeed. My knee may be in better shape, although it has far more years. But I will tell you this, my heart is no less stout than that warrior of Gondor. And he gives a nod to Barondir. I will see you all on the other side. But now we must discuss your path of travel.
Is Barondir gonna say something?
This and Barondir nods back affirmingly.
So, I guess he'll just go kind of scout the local environs.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give you a
Yeah,
way
just
to
trying
get
to-
rid of him.
All right. He might show up if you need him.
Help! Help!
Might.
Come to shoot and miss, please.
Do mine elf ears detect someone in trouble?
So,
I'm falling and I can't get up.
yeah, as you guys are getting your preparations, you know, Mogdred obviously has a few men, and he has his supplies at hand, and he departs after first light, even though the sun is just hazily hanging over the eastern rim of the forest, and all of his men seem a little dismayed by the bats circling overhead. I will see you all someday soon, hopefully. Godspeed and safe travels. And he takes off. All right, so you just kind of want to discuss what you want to do now, as far as the journey you want to take.
Not being specific, I just want to get the hell out of there. But yeah, we can
Yeah.
look at the.
Yeah, I mean, a long journey might be rough on Erebor. Not being able to really, you know, if you miss some travel rolls, you don't have a lot of hit points for endurance. But nobody's wounded. And so here's your large map. Kind of dealing with here.
Jeez, we're way down there.
So you're down where the ring icon is. I know last time you talked to me, you kind of wanted to go east, kind of to get out of the forest and up to Roscoe and then go somewhere from there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's fine. Roscabel's a good place to chill.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Protection of a wizard ain't bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably the quickest route to Roscoe.
Northwest,
Well,
north. Yeah.
That probably is quickest by time, because you're getting out of that bad terrain, and it will probably save you some travel checks. So you're kind of going. Let me.
Well, I mean, is this a trail? This looks like a borderline right there.
No, these are just kind of borders of areas.
Those are borders.
It's
Okay.
like zones, pretty much. Zone dividers.
All right.
So you're kind of going like that, or or like that, whichever way would be closest. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Out this way,
Out of the woods, please.
out this way,
Yeah.
and then straight up.
Yeah.
That way we little as much risk of running into Big Daddy Saccharin's replacement.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
I
yeah.
don't want to do
Well, we've got plenty of woods for that, and just getting out of the forest, we'll see what happens.
that. What do you mean, Zypher?
Well, can we make it over there?
That is, I
A
mean,
little further, but
It's not where we're wanting to go, is the thing.
yeah, that would delay us. I mean, that would take us further south.
Because Rivendell's up here.
I guess. I mean, we could try to make the Redhorn Pass though. Come back a different way.
Has anyone dealt with Galadriel?
Yeah, you guys can make a lore roll if you would like, if you're even considering it.
I don't even know that I would know who she was. But
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't think I'm very much interested in dealing with elves in general. Grimmer's hesitant probably about going to Rivendell, but he's got nowhere else to go.
I don't know if I'll make it, but I'll go ahead and make one because Dol Amroth and the
Yeah,
Gondorian.
I can make an old lore. I mean, nice roll.
Just take a step back a moment. Even if the reason I was suggesting Lorraine was more from the fact that after Roscobel, we still have to go up the river, correct? And
Yeah.
if I was not mistaken, they are still searching along that river for hobbits. If my understanding is correct, we've never heard of hobbits being searched south of the Gladden Fields. It's always been Gladden Fields and north.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
Yeah, role-playing wise, I don't know how we are looking at this map. I'm assuming that we don't. I wouldn't know the word. I mean, Goody wouldn't know the word Lorraine at all. But if we know like which parts of the map are safer versus, because we know what lies north of us because we've traveled through it.
Looks like Barondir has some knowledge of this.
Mm-hmm.
What
Can I
were you
use
saying
old
about
lore?
Dolmarov?
Would
Barondir.
Well, the Gondor itself and Dol Amroth was actually founded loosely by elves, so.
Mm-hmm. But I believe in this time frame, Lorien does not have a good reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Has anyone even dealt with Galadriel or anything? Because
So
they were really protective, if I remember right. That was
Extremely reclusive,
yeah.
like dead. Most people, they just shoot them. Elves, like their morality are not like, it's not like your morality. So Barondir would know of the Golden Wood, he may call it. I know that perhaps even there were whispers of rumors about the men of the ancient, the men of the ancient West may have had some relations with them, but the spirit of men has fallen low since that time, and now the wood only is rumored to be haunted by a white witch.
Yeah, Witch of the Golden Wood.
Mm-hmm. So you can reply to that if you relay that to the group.
Well, assuming that people are gathering around the map trying to suggest proposed routes and stuff, and if I see a curious little hobbit's finger like trail across going, well, perhaps we could go here and go to the woods here and then we could make our way. And I'll get kind of apprehensive when he starts tracing over by the Golden Wood, and he goes, best not we travel there. Says those woods, I think, might be just as bad here as here in Mirkwood. I hear there's a white witch that haunts them.
We seem to be surrounded by enemies more than friends on this side of the mountain.
Arvel shakes his head and says, I think the best course is to return to Radagast and Roscobel. There we will have protection and counsel if we need it. From there we can decide where to go next.
Perhaps the Brown Wizard might know of a better route.
Correct.
Well, I think once we get past Rosgobel, we talk to that wizard. Maybe we head east. My brother Remo and I, we could lead us all through the mountain pass. Then we could head north towards Rivendell.
Perhaps you said that they'd been searching the Gladden Fields already for a hobbit, yes? Perhaps they've done all the searching they intend to do there, moving on to greener pastures, so to speak.
If they've looked and they haven't found one, it wouldn't make sense for them to keep looking there, would it?
even if they did manage to find the hobbit that they're searching for, there's no telling how long it would take to relay the information.
Let us hope our ruse has worked and it pulls them away from our destination. We should go to Roskabel and seek counsel from Radagast. Come.
As always, my liege, I'll follow you. As long as we get out of these infernal woods as quickly as possible.
I wish nothing more than that myself.
The thoughts of another attack for the Adlercaps just downright chews the marrow in my bones.
At the thought of spiders, Vidar just kind of shudders.
I don't know how you folks can live in the woods. That's bloody miserable.
Well, I hate
the
it,
man
woods. I'd rather be fighting orcs and trolls in the mountains any day.
Ha! Isn't that true?
I'd rather be aboard a ship sailing the ocean myself. Kind of look down and try to cheer up Goody a little bit. He goes, "Who knows, Master Hobbit?" He'll like touch you softly on the shoulder, collarbone. Says, "Perhaps one day I might take you aboard a vessel."
With that, Goody's eyes kind of light up. The sea? Do you mean the sea that we could go out and see what is beyond?
Oh my stars, many of Gondorian has tried, my friend. Such wondrous exotic places I've heard tales travel to. Just imagine an endless ocean in front of you of cerulean blue.
Goody closes his eyes and tries to imagine something that he has never seen, and a smile slowly creeps across his face.
And you kind of, although Arvel doesn't say anything, kind of notice he's getting a little agitated, and he just stands up and says, finally, "Dreams of tomorrow are well and good, but if we don't get on our feet, there won't be a tomorrow. Come, we've decided." And he begins to depart, making his way out of the fort and along their path that they have chosen.
Goody picks up his backpack. Backsack. Goody picks up his backpack and follows Aravul out.
A hobbit invention to carry food.
Let's roll.
You guys rolling out of here?
Yep.
All right, so the dawn continues to come, although the light is dusky and gives a damp feeling that everything is just dark and oppressive. And you walk out of the keep, and you need to make haste. And some of the slain are still lying there. There's so many number of Humbert's men, and you head east initially. And the wood is like you expect it. The trees are stunted and the trunks are black and twisted. The foliage is dark and there's a heavy moss over it, and in parts you can't even see the sky. You just look upwards and it's almost like you're in a cave of trees. You cross a swamp, and finally, after some days' journey, you see the eastern eaves of Mirkwood, pointing just east of you, several hundred meters. And so eventually you go ahead and break out into the plain beyond. And the forest is behind you. So I've done a little bit of I've done a little math, and the journey is going to be basically one corruption check on the first day of travel. It's going to take 6 days total, and there's going to be one travel check at 14. Okay. So that first journey is going to be a corruption check as you're kind of heading through that last part of that awful woods. So let's just take care of that before we do anything else. Ugh.
I'll use the hope.
I'll hope.
That fucking knee.
I see you.
I will spend a hope because I will make it with a hope.
Oh, yes.
There you go, Goody.
There you go.
This is
Goody.
what I get for spending all my XP on my sword.
This is what you get for being tired.
Yeah.
Too.
Goody, as
You guys could always try to make a shelter and rest, but or you might just want to make your way to Roscoe. Yeah.
No, we're not.
No, we ain't resting out here. No.
So what does that look like as you finally break out into the plain and see some low hills beyond you?
Yeah, we're just Arvel's like in front with his head bowed, with his hood up over his head, looking like the very stereotypical ranger. And he's kind of just walking fast, fast enough that probably the shorter leg patriots, which are most of them, he might be kind of a ways ahead of them as he's kind of making a path before them.
Berinder hoped and made the roll, but since he got the eye of Soren, I guess what he would be doing would be trying to cheer up Goody's mood, and as such, he would be making lots of open references to Master Hobbit. Tell me about the Shire. So, I guess that could theoretically be what draws the eye of Soren's attention a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just the malevolence of the land increasing as it senses that something momentous is afoot with this fellowship. So,
Yeah, and Goody is kind of hanging back with Berendir, given that he can't walk as fast because of the knee. So as he exchanges stories about the Shire, he asks questions about the cerulean blue sea that lies ahead, somewhere in the future. And with these exchange of tales and what the future may hold, at least the brighter side of future, Goody soon forgets some of the troubles that are plaguing him and his fellowship.
Tell me,
Vidar-
Master. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to give an example. Just be like, tell me, Master Hobbit, do you like fish?
Fish. What would I give for some fish right now? On a skillet, over a fire, with some lemons and potatoes. Some
Well,
sage.
Some of the boats on the docks of Dol Amros, they go out to the ocean for days on end, and oh my, they have entire holes full of fish. Could you imagine that? I think that even your little hobbit stomach would be full till it burst.
You mean to say the sea that goes on for miles and miles has fish in it?
Oh,
Like the
there's
ones in the river?
many, many, many exotic things that lurk beneath the ocean waves. Fish being the majority of them. And he'll start rambling on about it. And then the octopus, and then the sharks, and
Goody's eyes just keep getting wider and wider to the thought of a belly full of fish.
oh, you, Doc, what would you say?
Vidar comes finally stumbling out of the woods, kind of bringing up one of the part of the rear there, pushing branches out of his face. One, swings back and thwacks him in the face. Spits out a leaf, and when he pushes his way through finally and comes out and sees the plains, he just lets out a deep sigh of relief. He's like, oh. And then he kind of shoves Grimor on the shoulder, kind of giving him a pat on the shoulder, and said, "Oi, look at that right there. Look at those hills. Isn't that a sight for sore eyes?"
I thought the mountains it'll nearly do.
Those there, they're just small mountains.
There's not much digging to be done on those, though.
No, I guess you could say those are the hobbits of the mountains.
True enough. Good to be out of those bloody woods. Tired of seeing those things from the walls. But I was underground most of the time, so nay bother.
Well, at least we didn't come across any spiders. Ugh, spiders.
Oh, don't tempt fate, Vidar. Act as though the spiders would not leave the wood to chase us.
Do you think they would? And Vidar kind of grabs his mattock and turns around back towards the woods.
Vidar, I've seen terrible things come from the darkness, and it has no inhibition so long as there is darkness around. Aye, they could. Be wary.
Arvel, and he calls out, "Let's get going."
Yeah, Arvel's like literally like 50 yards ahead of everybody. He turns around and kind of like gives you a look, and then turns around without saying that. He just keeps walking.
Menfolk are already impatient enough, Vidar. Don't give him more spice to his step.
So you guys continue on your journey, and the first night you camp, you don't make a fire or anything, want to lay low this close to the... I don't want to put words into your mouth, but I'm guessing you don't. It's also July, so you don't have to get too cold.
Yeah, no fires.
And you kind of make another journey, and second and third day roll by, and the weariness starts to set in. So at this point, we can go ahead and make that travel roll. You can... Does everybody just want to make the roll, and then if you fail, then you can roll your lore to see if you have any bonus die?
Sure.
Because you would use
unless you can pass it around. Can we pass those around?
You can pass them around. Okay, yeah, right. So it might behoove you to make your lore.
What's lore against 14 or 12?
It's gonna be against 14.
God, wary is awful.
You're so tired.
Wary is the worst.
I don't see anybody that's passed yet.
Everybody's
Doesn't appear.
rolling lower? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just to give us extra dice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the travel.
For a travel check.
I passed my travel up top, but
Eesh.
All
where
right,
the hell are we?
no bonuses. All right, so everybody can go ahead and make the travel check.
Here's where we all pass.
Oh, hallelujah!
Ervil made it.
Great success too. Not
Vidar did not make it.
That knee.
I will spend a hope. That way it'll be a great success.
I don't know what that does for us.
Yeah.
Great
You
success.
you just pass, yeah.
I don't.
Eesh.
I'm gonna
You
spend a
get
hope.
ticks
to pass
for
mine.
your skill group stuff.
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm just giving flat rates for that.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Should I even keep track of it then?
can if you want. If you want a jockey for extra.
Yeah.
Chris.
Well, time to do it then.
So is everybody using a hope to pass their travel or no? Or
I
just
didn't
letting
need
it
to.
ride?
I passed without using
I
one.
used a hope.
Okay. I think in the summer it's 2 that you suffer. I mean, I'd have to look.
I have my travel gear says 2, so does it go off that or?
Spring, summers too.
Yeah, spring and summer is 2.
I want to use a hope. I'll just. So, travel fatigue is 2.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. A very long and arduous day of travel passes. You're going up a gentle incline most of the day, and some of you are getting a little tired. Nobody rolled an eye, so no hazard. And you go ahead and camp, and you kind of start the last leg of your journey. So we'll say you're right about here. Yeah, let's just put on something more sad.
Oh, no.
It's not that sad, but
Yeah, Lorien would have been a long walk.
yeah.
Been
You
cool,
guys need somebody place like to rest up.
And we wouldn't have probably liked what we found when we
Probably
got
not.
there.
Definitely probably the quickest way across the mountains, though. We could have actually went around Lorien and just went to the pass, but
We could still head
Dunland
east.
on the other side, right? Because there's Dunland on the other side.
yeah.
You have a couple different options. So you can talk about that for
Yeah.
cats and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to sleep. I'm on baby duty, apparently.
That's how it is. In those days, there were no few small number of brave men and women. They were remnants of the valiant Northmen and others who dwelt along the eaves of the forest in the Anduin River Valley, and they made their home there. And they fished and they hunted and farmed when they were able. They loved and laughed and raised families. It is one of these homesteads that you now pass. Except that smoke, the color of dried blood, floats above the thatched and shingled roofs. Doors are battered and broken. Carts of produce are upturned. Slain men, women, and children litter the ground. And the ground runs with their blood like little maroon rivers of tears. In the afternoon sun, you can hear buzzing of flies. Upon one of the slain's flesh, carved the figure of a lidless eye. Corruption check
Oh my goodness.
against 16.
Oh, that's
Here we
not
go.
gonna be good.
I'll eat that shadow.
Oh
Let's
god.
make for good RP.
Yes,
What is it? If we hope it, what does it? What is it?
Heart.
Heart. Yeah, Baron Deer.
I'm gonna use a
Man
hope.
of Gondor's seen this before.
So Arvel was kind of in front, and he kind of like slows down as he sees the smoke in the air, and kind of looks over his shoulder and shakes his head. He pulls back his cloak to expose the hilt of his sword and places his hand upon it as he walks forward. But as he sees no danger immediately around him, he slowly releases his grasp and kneels before one of the slain and looks upon the lidless eye that he sees carved in the forehead of one of the dead. With a frown, he pushes himself up and kind of gives a cursory glance around to see if there's anyone else alive, and kind of just stands there dumbfounded for a few moments.
Grimmer would get his axe out, and upon seeing the side of it, and Grimmer's gonna do a bit more thorough search, not so much looking for survivors, but looking to see if there are any threats that are still around that might still be here. He's doing a pretty thorough look around of the homestead.
Yeah, Barondir would do the same in addition to trying to get Goody to get near him. He's like, Master Goody, best you stay near my shield.
And Vidar is just kind of walking through, dumbfounded at what he's seeing. He sees women and he sees children, and he had his weapon at the ready, but it's just kind of like dragging behind him as he slowly walks forward and looking at the corpses on the ground. His heart sinks and it's broken as he sees women and children lying dead in the dirt.
Goody, without waiting for Berendir to repeat his words, he quickly goes beside him and stands close to the shield. He looks around and he sees the carnage, and he doesn't know how to respond. He's not seen anything like this before. Shire holds no such hate in it, and there's so much wanton hate around.
What would have done this? I don't
Agents
know
of the
why.
enemy.
But why? What strategic gain is there from killing women and children?
That others might see it, of course. Aye, this is pointless slaughter. Yep, yes, but it's pointless slaughter with a point. They think maybe someone will see it pass by, or it's just to spread misery and fear. Shadow needs no reason to do what it does. You know that, Vidar.
One cannot be afraid of the dark without having fear to begin with. All this does is to cite an example of such an emotion. He'll get closer to Erevel as he's noticing Erevel's kind of lost in it. And he'll try to interpose himself in front of his liege. And he's like, best you not to look at these things. Such sights can drain a man's will. Says, it's truly a terrible sight, but never worry. Says, I will, if I have to personally, I will dig a grave for each of them and bury them properly.
Marvel kind of he like, as Berendir kind of approaches him, he looks like he kind of like snaps out of like a daydream almost, and kind of like turns to Berendir and looks over at him and kind of like shakes his head. And, we do not have time to bury each of them, I think, but a pyre at the least, and to say a few words in their honor. I won't leave them here to be feasted on by the crows.
Berendir let out a very exasperated sigh of emotion. As you wish. As you wish. He'll start proceeding to try to get enough wood or lumber, start carting bodies off, being really careful with the wee ones.
I'll help you with that wood, Berendir. These people, whoever they were, whatever lives they led, they did not deserve this. They did not deserve to die out here and to be forgotten out here. We'll send them off in a pyre.
Aye, a pyre fit for kings. They deserve no less.
Oh, does anyone have any skill at healing? It's just, you see Grimmer come frantically running out of maybe a house or, a corner of wherever this is, as far as the hamlet.
Yeah.
There's two still alive!
What? Berendir's got, bodies in his hand. And you look at these, quickly, show me.
Come on now. And he would bring you back there, and it's a woman and her child, and they're the man of the family dead there nearby, and they're terribly wounded.
Arvel remains with Goody.
Quickly try to ascertain the situation and tend to their wounds as best I can. Pouring water skin onto torn fabric if I need be to wipe away from the wounds.
All right. Roll your. Yeah, the young infant and mother are kind of in and out of consciousness and probably both in shock, and the Little girl is whimpering a little bit. Has some slashes across her chest and face, and one of her eyes is swollen shut. And the mother seems to have a fairly decent wound over her left shoulder and her right lower abdomen that's kind of weeping dark blood.
Look around, grab stuff from my own personal belongings as well as anything that I might find, like grass and stuff. And clean the wounds, tend to them, and like be chewing up roots and stuff in my mouth, trying to make a poultice, if anything, to stop the bleeding and try to bind the wounds.
Absolutely. So make me a healing check, just at 10, actually, at this point. Pretty good. So yeah, you're able to bind the wounds and stop the bleeding, and their color looks a little better. Once you realize that they're not in any condition to travel at this point. They're going to need time, they're going to need boiled water, they're going to need the wounds cauterized if you can do it somehow. You're going to need to search for more herbs to provide more healing. So if you want to help them, it's going to take a little more time.
Definitely be frantically tending to them, having flashbacks of field medic trauma. And first priority would be the infant, of course, then the mother, and however long amount of time before I get them semi-stable. Then I'll sit back with bloodied hands, slightly trembling, and he'll let out a sigh, exhaustive sigh, but it's almost got a hint of contentment to it, like a positive sigh. And he'll just like, I do believe they'll live, but not on their own. Their wounds are sadly time-consuming. They would need to be looking after. They're certainly in no shape to travel.
Could we carry them or build a litter?
Do not know if all that jostling would be good for either one of them, to be perfectly honest. If they are to recuperate, like I said, it would take many factors. It would take just resting for now. Then there's the risk of the wounds growing swollen and pus-filled. Then someone would also need to feed them to change their wounds or change their bandages.
Well, I'd be willing to stay if Berendir is willing to take care of him. If you would push on with goodwill. I know he's our priority, but wouldn't be right just leaving them to die.
Well, I think if we made a litter for them, if we secured them tightly in it, with food, water, bandages, medicine, even the little bit of jostling that might come with being on a litter, they might make it to Rosgobel.
How far are we from Rosgobel right now?
Just like another day. So Berendir, I mean, that was a pretty good roll. He knows that just taking them in this state would be very dangerous to travel with them, but he also knows that even a night's rest with the wounds, with the bleeding stopped and that sort of thing, will make them far more stable for travel if you want to rush the job. To get them totally stable, it might take 2 or 3 days, though.
Yeah. Arvel looks around and then looks at Goody.
Goody looks at Arvel and he says, Arvel, that was never a question, was it, for us? We are not the sort of fellowship who leave people by the wayside in their time of need. We will do what we can for as long as we can. Care not for the consequences of what the shadow holds for us. For our fellowship is not worth its metal if we do not take the time to help those in need. Let us do that without any question in our hearts. Let us do what we can for these people. I don't know why they're suffering or why this fell upon them, but a part of me feels that it is related to what we are trying to resolve. Let us do this for them.
Arvel takes a deep breath and exhales and runs his hand through his hair. Looks to Barandir and says, "One day, that's all we have. We'll stay here for the night, and we'll do what we can for them. We will secure a litter and take them on the morn, or tomorrow at some point, to Roskabel. There, hopefully, if they survive the journey, the wizard can heal them. Otherwise, we might all be dead, and it will matter not."
Understood, my liege. Will do what all I can for the night.
I will assist you, Berendir, with whatever I can to tend for the mother and child.
Aye, and myself and Vidar will pull double shifts for both of you so you can concentrate on your work.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing. We've got the night watched. Between the two of us, taking turns, we can protect us.
Marvel kind of nods and I'll begin to assemble the litter.
Why don't you sit down and rest? Let us do that. Looks like you need to take some weight off those feet. They grow heavy. They're only going to grow heavier tomorrow. You need the rest.
Sighs and very well. He doesn't even fight it, which is quite strange for him. He usually would be stubborn and disagree. At least Vidar, Barandir, and Goodwill would know. At the very least.
Yeah, Goodwill definitely notices that. Kind of hangs his head a little low when he realizes that Araviul is also weary and tired.
So actually, I mean, this is a village, so you can get a good night's rest, Araviul, if you want. Now, the ones up tending to the wounded or on guard throughout the night, not so much. I didn't consider this, but I think this counts as, at least as one night,
Yeah, I'll saw some logs, no problem.
So a weary hero gets.
Just as a proposal based on the RP I do next.
Mm-hmm.
Given that there's still many more dead, between building the litter and keeping watch, I believe we are still able to gather the dead together and set up a funeral pyre, correct?
Yeah, the dwarves would do that. It would help out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arvel would suggest, says, as kind of like the dead are being, and he does help secure them, but he says, "Let us not burn the dead until the morn. I know it is macabre, but," he kind of looks to Goody. "If the enemy has already been here, perhaps they have no reason to return, and to think anyone is here. If we start a huge fire, well, it will alert many. I suggest we wait until we leave."
Well, I agree with that. It's
Good
better to
sense
start
from the
a
men
fire.
folk.
Yeah, the slide's just for effect because I'm just unarchiving slides to use because I didn't plan that much for this
You're good.
session.
And he
All
looks
right.
to Goody and he says, "I hope that is okay with you, Goodwill."
Indeed it is, I will. And I will prepare some kind words for those that have fallen here. And in the morn, when we set them on their way, I will take some time to recite them.
Good. Let us give them a farewell under the sun and not the darkness of the night.
Indeed.
All right. So, Barondir and Goodwill both tend to the wounds of these folks. You have some teamwork going on, tending to the wounds, making sure that they're, the woman kind of wakes up and she's able to take a little bit of broth or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I would like both Barondir and Goodwill to make me a medicine checks at 12. Is it?
Healing, you mean?
Healing, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Good.
Excellent.
Very good.
All right, so okay. And then also Erebul gets a good night rest. You get, I looked at your stats, you would get 8 endurance back.
Oh, holy moly.
Yeah, it's 2 plus your basic heart.
2 plus basic heart? Oh, okay.
Yep, that should be 8. Yep.
Yep.
So that puts you in a lot better shape, I think.
Oh, a lot better shape. I'm no longer wary. I can dig that. Now if I don't go miserable.
Yep, and Grimmar's and Vidar's watch passes without incident. And in the morning... Oh, go ahead.
In the morning, once when we're setting up the fire and about to light it, Goodwill stands the rest of the fellowship and looks up. And they are in the sun, the wind, the rain. They are in the air we breathe. They are with us with every breath we take. They now sing a song of hope and cheer. They feel no more pain, no more fear. You will see them in the clouds above. Hear their whispers and songs of love in the breeze. They're all together now, and we may find them on our journey's end.
Arvel kind of stands next to Goody and puts a hand on his shoulder. Says, Goody, this what we have seen is why we must fight. Why we must put ourselves in danger. It is not for those that we know, in truth. It is for those that we will never know. Those that do not have the strength to fight back against the shadow. Those that do not have the courage, the will, the ability, the innocent, the children, the women, the men. This should give us hope. And he kind of steals himself. Says, whatever the shadow must do, or whatever the shadow will do, we must fight it. Must give ourselves hope and courage. Let us remember this day for that lesson alone. He steps back and watches the burning embers catch fire and the multiple corpses be engulfed.
And all of your gear is set up, and you're ready to go, and the light starts to rise in the east, and now that you're out on the plains, the light is much brighter, and there's hints of a blue sky and rolling green waves of grasses and prairie before you as you head north towards the last leg of your journey and towards Roscobel. And both Barondir and Goodwill can see that the woman and child's color is much better, and they both seem to be sleeping peacefully, although still the journey may be perilous for them. And so I want, you've patched them up pretty good. So I want both Barondir and Goodwill to make, just roll a feat die. Just roll D12, basically, if you want.
Don't roll that eye.
Double eye.
Oh, man. Oh, that's safe. Nice in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And so the camera pans down behind the Fellowship as they head off towards Roscabel, dragging behind them the litter of the mother and infant. Far in the distance, you see kind of some smoke, but kind of like homely smoke rising through the eaves of Mirkwood, and then there's a little bit of a scene switch.
A little scene switch.
Yeah, it's like a cutscene. Days prior, smoke belched from the furnaces of Dol Gildor, and a great and horrible horn called out. Spewing forth from the great fortress came over a dozen messengers. Each was clad in black and wore a crest atop his helm in the form of a skull, stained and sad in its grimace. The riders rode over the gates of Fenbridge and over the marshes. They deviated in their destiny, some going south while others going east and west, and a few also traveling north with great speed. Where the riders went, so did wickedness. For it was as if a dark cloud hovered over the horses as they galloped along. Sometime after, a solitary rider can be seen cresting a hill. Where are you guys here? It is Tyrant's Hill, now deserted, and the surrounding environs as well. The black messenger kind of heels his horse, and the beast carries its passenger down the hill and across the field. Likely, the messenger expects to find allies. He expects Humbert Helmsplitter and his ilk who have fallen to the shadow. Instead, he finds the keep uninhabited. Dismounting, the messenger draws back his black cowl, and his cloak reveals a stern and cruel visage. It's a man with his eyes gouged out. He searches the dead, finding no living among them. That is until he hears a solitary gasp. Help me, says one of the dying. It is a man with dried and cracked lips and a wound across his brow. The messenger crumples a piece of parchment in his hand and throws it to the ground before advancing on the lone survivor. So this was like whatever he was probably going to deliver to the tyrants. And the camera kind of pans down. You can see this crumpled parchment in the mud. It says, "Servant of the Dark Lord, war will soon be at hand, for our master, in his wisdom, has foreseen and sensed the return of that which he seeks. Indeed, his power will once more be whole, and his will absolute. It is commanded that you prepare for conflict. Gather your troops, forge your weapons, stockpile your supplies, and send a report to Dol Gildor. For when Sauron calls upon your aid, it will not be refused, and you will be rewarded. For even now, we 9 prepare to undertake the final stages of the hunt and bring shadow to the west. Khamûl, Lieutenant of Dol Gildor." And so as the scene closes, the camera pans back from the mud where that parchment is, and you see this. It's not like a Nazgul, but it's this messenger of Dol Guldur kind of closing in on this wounded kind of survivor that was missed. We're back to Roscoe. And you guys are towing behind you this litter, the infant and mother. As you draw near the refuge of Roscoe, your hearts are slowly buoyed. The spirit you once had returns and rises in your chest until you can recall and remember the warm fires of the wizard's abode. You may recall the scent of meat pies and the sound of a tea kettle whistling over a crackling fire. You may smile and reimagine the kindness and warmth of old Radagast, he who dwells among the eaves and speaks the tongue of bird and beast. For Radagast is the brown and the great lover of all things that grow and are good in Middle-earth. And after what you have witnessed, that is an encouraging thought. A league from the village, you see the broad and outstretched wings of a great bird circling the area. The silhouette spires higher and higher until it fades from view. It disappears to the north with a great flapping and beating of winds and is gone from sight. But the sight of Roscoe again fills your eyes, and so too does the image of a wizened man leaning on a gnarled staff and dressed in brown. "Very kind of you to return," he says. "We have much to discuss."
Arvel takes a deep breath and is very, very happy, clearly. Says, Radagast, I hope that Aglaron has preceded us. He's scouted our way for us.
Indeed he did, indeed he did. And again, I welcome you into my house if you would come. And he kind of leans over on his staff. It seems you have brought friends. Are they okay, Aravul?
They have been injured by the shadow. We unfortunately came upon a hamlet that had been sacked. These were the only survivors. They will need your aid. Though Barondir has done his best to prepare them for our trip, and they have survived thus far.
Radagast kind of shuffles over. He lifts the hem up of his robe, and it hovers over the mud and the gnarled roots, and he goes over to the litter and looks at Barondir and Goodwill. I would say yes. Yes, you have. And he passes his hand over the eyes of the infant mother. Oh, man of Gondor, halfling. It is because of your good works, these two. Yes. Yes, they should live. A strong heart beats in both of them. And it's because of your actions that they will have many happy days ahead. They will dwell with me here in Roscoe and be under my protection. So, with that, it's almost as if there's a lightness in the air, and the air is filled with the smell of good food and laughter, although you can see nobody nearby laughing. So I would like everybody to give themselves one hope. Give yourself a hope back.
With pleasure.
Barondir will look awkward, if not quite a bit uncomfortable around Radagast, and the only comments he'll really make is just, mind the wee one. Injuries were quite severe.
Oh, do not worry. My hands are gentle and my words, although some may think they are foolish, I consider them wise. They have helped to much smaller things. And when he says that, there's a little chipmunk that peeks out from behind the hem of his robe and then goes back in. Say yes. This little infant will be just fine. So they're taking care of him, and then he goes over and he's preparing a poultice of his own, and who knows what type of poultice and healing herbs this wizard can concoct. And as he's doing so in his home, he says to you, "So let me hear it. Aglaron was here a few nights ago, and he told me the tale. But as you may know, he is an elf of, well, let's say he uses words sparingly." And so Radagast asks about the tale and that sort of thing.
Arvel kind of takes a deep breath and says, "I will leave the tale to others to speak. Goodwill?"
My pleasure, Arvel. And he looks at Radagast and starts spinning the tale of Fellowship of Tyrant's Hill and Mogdred the Brave. Explains how there was a treachery at Tyrant's Hill and Mogdred's own men turned on him. And Mogdred's gone. He's gone east, correct?
West, I think.
Yeah, kind of back to the narrows of the forest.
Yeah. And then most of that part of the story, there's a lot of exuberance, and Goodwill kind of, adds a little more spice to the story. And then gets to the part of their journey back, and the story kind of takes a sad turn as he discusses the hamlet that they came across and how it was ransacked. And while ransacking would have been okay, but how there was just wanton death and destruction for the sake of it. He ends the story with the fact that they were able to save at least 2, if not more, and that the 2 that they saved are now in Radagast's care.
I do not know many halflings. I have traveled far and wide, but my heart is always here in the forest, and thus your kind has escaped me. But I am constantly amazed by your ingenuity and your goodwill. I suppose that the name rings true for you, little one. And it is this mind of the enemy that you speak of. And now you know his measure, for his measure can only be witnessed by what he leaves behind. The Dark Lord does not create, he only destroys. He cannot make anything beautiful, and so he gains power by destroying the works of others. Thus, he wants to cover the land in shadow. You've come to me, and I will lend you aid. But I do want to know your mind. Where do you expect to head next? Are you to return to Lord Elrond?
That would be indeed what we would like to do. Before that, we would like to stay a while and rest. Listen to more stories about these woods that you tend and take care of. But yes, once we have regained all our strength, make our way back to Lord Elrond. Though I fear, from what we have seen and what we know, the road back will be treacherous.
Yes, I do not look forward to the high pass, Arvel says, thinking clearly of what happened before, when times were even less perilous.
There are ways that are perhaps less perilous than straying too close to the festering nest of goblins up in the high pass. In days of old, it was more safe, but now, as you have unfortunately found out for yourselves, it is dangerous. Few ever make the journey unscathed, and those are the bravest, and I count you among their number, but, well, these days, ill luck seems to happen more often than not. Before hearing your tale and guessing your hearts, and realizing that you were to journey back to Rivendell, I was going to be inclined to ask you to journey north to the woodland realm of King Thranduil. But the messenger that is seen rarely in these parts has recently departed. It tells me that the king holds captive a particularly interesting prisoner. But I guess with both my mind and my heart that I will know the import of this prisoner soon enough. For the eagle's ways are mysterious, and they do not fail in their duty. If things are as you say, then the darkest days are yet to come. If you choose to return to Rivendell, I bid you good luck. And you do it swiftly, although you are welcome to stay here for as long as you desire. Rivers and the streams and birds and beasts whisper to me even now. The land is sad, my friends, and perilous times are at hand. Would that I would join you, but my spirit has become, well, fused with this place. We are one and the same now, this Greenwood the Great and I. And if I could but staunch the flow of ichor from the wound created by the shadow, then I will stay here. It is that which I will do. But if I can offer you advice or safe passage, I will do that. Make yourself at home for the days ahead. Rest up. Little hobbit, if you should want to learn tales of the wood, I'd be glad to speak with you as you journey in the wood, along a babbling brook, or feeding the birds. But do not tarry too long, for the eye is ever wandering, and it does not sleep.
Narva nods. Yes, we will not be here long, but we thank you for your respite and your protection.
All right, I guess the scene can kind of fade then, and we can kind of go into a little more of an abstract RP, if you want.
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, from an out-of-character
how-
perspective, probably I would just want us to stay long enough that we're not... probably
Everyone-
just a couple days, really.
Till everyone's back,
Yeah.
full. Their what you call it?
Endurance.
Full endurance, yeah.
Their
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
endurance
going to
is-
stay for a fellowship phase. If that, we're not
Oh
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean, I'd like to, but not going to happen.
Yeah, not here. We're not. Yeah, that's what Rivendell's for.
Yeah.
I need to get rid of some of the shadow. I need to get my endurance up, but at least until we get our endurance up, I think we should stay here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
think that'd
so
be
you-
only a couple days, though, really.
Yeah, each night you gain 2 plus your basic heart score.
Yeah, so after one night, my endurance is back at the top.
Same here.
Me too. I'll be full because of the village.
And the travel fatigue also disappears, correct?
The what?
The travel fatigue?
Yes, the travel fatigue's gone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bo, can you
Go back to the-
throw up the map?
Yeah, the map.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna move the ring.
Oh Lord, this is a long way.
I'm telling you, west across the mountain pass, the north to Rivendell.
I think that's. I think.
We don't want to go through that high pass again.
No.
You guys are all gonna be having some PTSD flashbacks.
I'm staying back to fight spiders. Go. Not spiders, orcs.
I mean, if they're
Combos.
if they're going to be looking anywhere, they're going to be looking up north for us, along the high pass, along the ford there, the road. I don't think anyone's really expecting us to kind of cross west across the Gladden Fields and over the mountain pass.
So now this is just me eyeballing it. Kind of, it's 15 hexes to the mountain pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh.
And at least
I mean-
20 to the high pass.
Yeah, I mean,
Now we're gonna go mostly through brown, light brown, and green going to the mountain pass. So, or we can actually we can go straight to this river, the Gladden, and just go straight into it.
Yeah.
Just take a step back a minute. Could we just revisit what Radagast said about the Woodland Hall?
Yeah, he wanted us to go to the Mirkwood Elves to see what prisoner they had there.
Yeah, he was basically going to ask that, but then was visited by an eagle. And kind of, like the eagle's going to carry messages back and forth, so bring more information. So now he's kind of trusting the eagle to get that job done. And his tone of voice when he was visited by the eagle was like, even me here, like they're never this far east of the Gladden. That's like something he hasn't had in like hundreds of years of visitors. So
I think I know who that is, but I'm guessing I know who it is.
so if we cross this way, hit the water, and then take the water.
Yeah,
Down
but do
to
we
the
have do we have boats to do that though? Is the question. Where did we leave our boats?
your
Or
boats,
did we sell them?
like are around here somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we came down all the way down this way.
You came down and then took the quickest road over to Roscabel.
Which would be basically
Now,
the way.
but going upstream though really doesn't get you much.
Yeah.
That's true. The water's coming down from the mountain.
Yeah, I think going upstream might even be slower than walking. Let me look.
I'm sure it is.
Travel speed.
Just hold the Hobbit upside down and have him go.
Yeah. Against the current, 5 to 10 miles a day. On foot, you get 20.
Okay. That's fine. We'll just go along the banks of the river as a guide. But yeah, I think that might be the best idea. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, because going all the way to the high pass, number one, it's longer. I feel once we get on the west or the east of the Misties, we'll be in a lot better shape. We have Dunland over there to help us. Number one, we have Rivendell fairly close. I think that would be good to get out of here, get out of the Wildlands. If anybody disagrees.
No. I mean, I've been pushing for this. Let's go for the mountain pass. I mean, being stuck between the mountains and the forest in Mirkwood,
Not
this
good.
this little valley, if you will, is just ugh.
I would also suggest that if you're doing this, if you're going through that, we try to stay as far away from any sort of clustering of folks.
Like
hamlets.
population centers, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
One, RP wise, Goodwill would not want to be recognized as a hobbit. And two, after going through what we just saw, I don't think we want to go through more of that.
Mm-mm. Avoid other people and head for that mountain pass and hopefully get through it.
So that's how many?
So
I
let's
don't even
make
know.
so.
It was 15 to get there just by eyeball. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, about 15.
So you
Maybe-
leave Roscabel on July
Yeah,
20th.
pretty much any way I go is 15. That makes sense.
We might want to put 2 more just to keep us away from any civilization whatsoever. So maybe.
Yeah, I just
15
don't know
to
where those
17.
would be. Actually, if I knew where.
Oh
they
no!
were.
I mean, like try and take a circuitous.
Oh, I
route
see
around
what you
Gladden
mean.
Field.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I want to make some lines here, and tell me if this works for you. So you want to go basically
Straight northwest.
Go like this.
Yep.
straight
then-
like that. Okay.
That's fine. And then. Well. That'd be the first I was thinking.
Yeah.
Generally.
Here, then over across the river. Just follow
Yeah.
the river.
No, because I don't really want to go through Gladden Fields.
You want to skirt the Gladden Fields.
Yeah, so basically here to this. Yeah. And now go north.
All right. Polygon line. Like here. Kind of skirt it.
I'm not seeing it.
Can't see it line?
Mm-mm.
Might be jam
Like
weird.
that.
Nope.
Like that. Like that. Like that.
So I don't see anything. You guys are
Yeah.
I'm probably
Oh,
not. I'm probably not done making the line.
Oh, you can't see what
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
doing? Oh,
doing.
there
Nah,
you go.
see it.
nah,
Yeah,
nah, I see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that's
that's exactly what I would.
That's
Yeah,
what I was
right.
just doing, yeah.
And then out the other end and up to Rivendell.
All right. So, okay. Just a little bit RP in the morning. So knows I for want to get his extended RP session in with Radagast, but we can save that for a interlude, I guess. So in the morning of your departure, you wake up and it's almost like you're not even in Mirkwood. Bright light is shining, filtering down through the leaves. There's the shadows of leaves and green dancing on the grass, and there's birds in the air and the buzzings of bees. Sweet smells, and you have all your gear, and you walk out the door and down the path, and
Before I do that, I would still go to Radagast and say, Radagast, I am grateful for what you have done for us, opening your house and giving us a place to rest and recuperate. Here's something that I wrote for you and this beautiful place, a gem within this wood. In your garden, I hear the birds, their sweet and lilting songs. In your gardens, I see the tree limbs swaying on a gentle breeze. In your garden, I feel a spirit lifting my heart, filling it with hope and joy. In your garden, I know a peace, quieting my worry, removing all fear. This garden of yours touches the senses, thrills the heart, and surrounds the soul with love and hope. If we do not meet again, my time here has been well spent, and I will always cherish this memory. Thank you again, Radagast.
Radagast looks at the hobbit and says, "Oh, hobbits, not only ones of generous bellies and generous with their victuals, but also their hearts are kind and tender. You are quite generous with your words. It is not often in these days that someone speaks their mind and their hearts such as you do. Stay with your company. I fear they'll need you before the end. And I pray that your spirit does not falter. Here, you give me words, but I have something for you as well." He says, "Come along. I will walk you and your party down the path, and we will chat as we do so. For I not only have a gift for you, but for your compatriots as well. And he walks along the path with the hobbit on the way out to meet the rest of them. And as he goes through, and you can add this to your inventory, you can put a pouch of Radagast's special leaf.
Oh! Yes!
I've cured and tended to this from my garden for many years. Old Toby, the South Farthing leaf of your kind, one of my order is quite fond of the stuff, and he has brought me seeds. But this is sweet stuff indeed. Smoke it at a time when you feel most hopeless, and it will buoy your spirits and bring you good fortune. Keep it safe and dry, and don't lose it, Goodwill.
Upon my life, I will not lose this treasure, dear Radagast. And Goodwill bows low and deep.
He comes next to Barondir. Now, Barondir, stout warrior of the South. I trust that your shield is going to protect this halfling here. After all, you wouldn't want his tobacco to be spoiled.
I should protect all my friends with what life still flows within me.
And he opens up his bundle. He has this sack over his shoulder, almost like Santa. And he takes stuff out of it, and it seems to not get any smaller. Like, the sack has everything in it. You don't know if it's a trick of the eye or a little wizard's trick, but it just seems odd that he has a lot of stuff in this pouch that doesn't seem big enough to fit it all. And so out of this, he takes this ornately carved horn that has a split along one side, and he gives it to Barondir, and says, "The Northmen that settled this vale, well, through time, they eventually went down and mingled with the men of the South. This horn is an ancient relic of their people. I trust you to keep it well. I suspect that your valor should be reflected greatly in the ringing of its voice. May it serve you well, Barondir, soldier of Condor."
I'm without words, Master Radagast. Know this, you have my eternal and most humble of thanks.
He looks at both Vidar and Grimoire and says, Now. What to give a dwarf, or dwarves, as it should be, and one a lord, no less. What shall I give a dwarf lord who has nearly everything? And he looks at Vidar.
And Vidar stands up just a little straighter with the shoulders back.
And he looks to both of them. And he says, "Look there. You have something in your beards." And he starts to reach towards your beards. And if you don't stop him,
Vidar kind of
been
like
a kind host thus far.
Vidar just kind of like pulls his head back and looks down.
Your soup's in your beard.
Grimmer's eyes will grow wide. It looks just a bit unnerved, but I'm not going for the axe or anything. So,
and he kind of pulls his hands out of both of your beards, and he has a little golden coin in each of them, and says, "Now I know the both of you have enough coin for many years and do not wish for more riches, but these, keep them with you to remind you of your lineage." He talks about how these coins for back in Durin's day are in the deep bowels of the old place called Moria, now known as Khazad-dûm.
And
From so long ago, and he takes the coin, looks it over, and he's got his dwarvish eyes looking it over, trying to appraise it. He speaks the truth. And he's just coveting this because this is a pretty a pretty big deal to have something like this.
And Vidar is like slowly reaching his hands out, and he puts his fingers on the coin and he holds it. He's like, I don't know what I've done to deserve a gift from you, but I will cherish this all my days. You don't know what this means to me. To have our lineage here, where I can hold it, I can see it, I can put it in my pocket, carry it with me, and just like I said, all my days, I will cherish this.
Baron will come up, pat them both on the shoulder. Goes, I say, those aren't tears in your dwarven eyes. I see, are they?
Well, I think it's the sun. It's the sun.
Oh yes, of course, the sun.
The tears of stone. Tears of bloody stone. Rubbing his face. And
Radagast smiles and laughs as the dwarfs cut up a little bit, and then goes over to Aravul. And now, last but not least, you, Aravul, leader of men, man of the West. And he actually takes his sack and looks into it, holds it up, looks into it again. His little chipmunk crawls out of it and skitters down the path. And he laughs. Then he takes the sack and shakes it. Oh, I'm sorry, Aravul. I've quite run out. My sack is empty. And he turns to you and says, it's because you, Aravul, what you need is in here. And he points to your heart. When times are darkest, look here. And to the blade you carry. For you are the protection of this fellowship and serve as their direction. Do not falter when times are dark. For I see, yes, dark days are ahead, but there may be a happy ending to this one yet.
Aravul just stares at him blankly for the first part of all that, and then eventually says, I will try. Feel that I am perhaps not. He kind of pauses. I will see them to the west of the Misties, into Lord Elrond's care, with my entire being, with every beat of my heart. There will be no doubt of that.
And with that, you guys are going to set off on your journey, and the screen's going to fade, and we'll have another cutscene unless you guys want to add anything more. So you set out on, we leave Roscobel on July 20th. All right. So we're back to this bad guy. In the kind of dark haze in the mud. This messenger of the shadow lording over the nearly dead servant of Tyrant Hill that somehow survived. Seeing the survivor, the messenger of Dol Guldur comes forth, his iron-shod boots squished in the mud, and the cloaked man bends over the survivor. What did you say? He snarls. The wounded man replies, Help me! Fool, says the horseman. What happened here? What of Humboldt and his men that were promised riches? Dead! All of them, all of us! Replies the wounded man. He begins to cry, and fear is stark across his pale face. We were bested. The dark shape leans forth. Tell me more. The company of the Kingsfell, they called themselves, led by a lord of the West, and with them a halfling. A what? Halfling, gasped the wounded man with his last breath as he dies. The messenger of Dol Guldur again mounts his steed and rides away to the south. Some days later, we descend upon the black stronghold of Dol Guldur. Furnaces of war burn fervently in the night. Bellows belch sulphurous fumes into the night air. A nearby lake, once teeming with flashing fish and other life, is choked with crawling vines and muck the color of day-old blood. But there is no horn. There is no blast of trumpet or fanfare. There are no drums. There is a crash as the doors of Dol Guldur burst forth, and from the gaping maw of that evil place come 3 black riders. Their ornament is simple. Their beasts are black as death. Horror, fear, famine, and hopelessness come before them like a billowing cloud of doom. They cross the gatehouse at Fenbridge and disappear into the night, tailing wickedness after them. All right. So you guys are back on the road.
Or in the field.
Yeah.
So, is this a population center?
Is what?
The Gandalf
Okay.
rune.
Is what a population center?
Where I'm pinging right now. The Gandalf ruin?
I think it's just a map marker.
Yeah.
Is it just a map mark? Okay, I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
that
we're not going like right through a population center.
that has to do with your travel difficulties and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you are not in that. That if I had to guess and made a gaming, that would probably be my best. If you had gone through the Gladden Fields, something would have happened, would have been cool, but this is probably the best way for you not to get noticed. Because you did hear about the Hobbit settlements there and stuff, so you're just playing it safe, which is probably what you would do in character, right?
Yeah, play it safe.
Yeah. So, all right, let's do some travel stuff. I'm only kidding.
What?
Using that Tour Journey Heroku app thing, I'm only getting, because you are going across like basically plains in the summer, that you're only going to have to do 1 travel check to get to the foot of the mountains.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
Make
I
sure
mean, once you
everybody
get
bump
there-
your endurance up
Outrageous.
to max too. By the way,
Sorry, what?
bump your endurance up to max if it was lowered.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
for 1 day? In Rosgobel?
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be at max.
Oh,
Which
I
is
don't know.
fine.
I don't know.
No,
how
it's fine.
long did we stay?
1 day.
1 day. Yeah,
Okay.
we stay 1 day. That's fine. I wasn't gonna make it because I'm at 20. If it's 20 to 31, I'm not bothered.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're a pretty tough dude.
I do tough things.
Yeah. So, okay. So what we're gonna do is everybody roll lore.
Ah. Maybe that's what I should increase next time. Because my lore sucks. Yeah.
Standard difficulty.
Yeah, 14.
Where are we again? No.
Aren't we going west or east?
We're going to the East Bite, right?
Nobody gets bonus.
No. I think we all failed.
We're
All
missing
right,
Arthur.
So, yeah, let's see. It's going to be... You're going to get 1 travel check so far to get to the base of the mountains. It's going to be 16.
Oof.
I'm singing as we're going along.
Luck be a lady tonight. No! It's like the scene where the Fellowship's running across the open plains. That's us.
Yeah.
So if it's underlined, you use favored, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to use a hope to pass mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a hope as well to pass.
I'm not. I'll just fail it. So I take 2 travel fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take 2. Well, actually, wait, let me read my ability.
I don't like losing fatigue.
No, I don't either. But
Mine wouldn't be a great success, so no, I'll take 2.
2 more hope lost, and I'm miserable.
No, you can't afford to lose the hope. Yeah.
Mm.
Vidar is just kind of huffing and chugging along, and he's got hope. He's gonna make it across these mountains.
Grimmer would be singing some old dwarf mining songs at some points, leading, probably starting to outpace people with that. With extraordinary.
Yeah.
What do we do with a drunken mine? Yeah, sort of stupid mining songs.
That's my favorite song.
I don't ask you to sing it with me, but you look a bit out of breath.
Yeah, well, fighting in those wars, they tuckered me out a little bit.
You're getting fat in your old age, Vidar.
It's the ales. It might just be the ales.
Yeah. So generally fair weather, no hazards. Doing pretty well there. No eyes. So you go across the terrain. At one point though, right about here, just north of Gladden Fields, I want all of you to make... Who's our lookout?
I believe it's me.
All right, make your whatever's perception. I don't know what it is.
Awareness.
Yeah.
I get 2. Two.
Oh yeah, lookout is awareness.
What's the TN?
This might actually be bad for you.
What's the TN?
It's gonna be 16.
Good God Almighty! Oh, it's not bad.
Nice.
Unless I didn't want to see it. See a bunch of hobbit villages destroyed or something.
No. You feel just, it's like fleeting. But you feel like you feel like you saw a rider up on a ridge at one point. You look that way and he just vanishes. It's so far away it looks like a fleck. It's like a fleck of shadow and just kind of disappears.
Alright, well, he's been kind of quiet on this journey. It's been difficult for him so far, but then once he sees this, he kind of waves goodwill over to him and says, I think I saw something quite a ways away, but a rider, perhaps. Come, everyone. We have no time to waste. And he kind of rallies everybody to start moving quicker. And enough singing.
You can tell me to stop singing when you outpace me.
All right, my friends, here's where it gets rough.
Mountains.
How many do we just? Is the mountains just
So-
one hex or no?
Yeah, no. So I clicked
Let's
on
see,
that
kinda.
app and stuff. So you're gonna have try to get you to here. So it's going to be. Let me make my color.
We want to come out right here, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So here.
Use the catapult method getting across.
Me and Vito are probably got high crap to put it
the
together.
southern wall drug catapult.
Yeah. Ollie, oxen free.
Getting over is easy. The landing's the hard part.
Yep. So you guys head off into the. You can see where the ring is and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Jones ring. All right. So you're gonna have three different travel checks at 16
Oh my god.
as you guys head across the mountain. The first one hits you right about here. So we're gonna just change some scenery for fun and
So
profit.
do we get lore checks for each of these or?
No, this is a whole the same journey.
Oh.
This is all part of the same journey. So.
Oh, Baron Deer's knee's gonna give out right about now.
So travel checks.
Grab both of the doors' beards as I fall off the ledge.
Marvel, great success.
Yep. Oof. Vidar, great success.
Yeah, I'm going to make that. I'm going to spend a hope on that. Reason why? I'll probably wind up spending 2. I have over dangerous leagues. If I get a great success on a fatigue test on a journey, I can spend a hope to automatically succeed on the next test.
Okay, so you're gonna succeed.
Yeah, I'm spending 2 hope to basically
Nice.
make two tests automatically.
So I won't even make you roll on the next one then.
Yeah. I don't have to roll on the next one. It's the third one I'd have to roll.
I'll spend a hope to pass that. I don't anticipate. I hope I don't roll that bad again. Jesus.
Here we go.
Mm.
Open it.
And as Vidar starts outpacing Grimoire, he pats him on the back as he walks past him. He's like, come on. Who's calling who old now? Keep up.
And Arvel is also up there, and he's like, yeah, as I said, stop with the singing. And he kind of gives a smug smile as everything seems to be going okay so far.
Your long legs help you with the incline.
And Vidar is kind of humming under his breath. What do you do with a drunken miner? What do you do?
Grimmer spits off the edge.
Matters not how far you step, but where you step, Master Dwarf.
Well, let's keep going then.
And Barrender, since y'all are actually not moving far distances, but like short, he's good. His knee's fine, so he'll actually like start crab walking past y'all.
I'm going to spend 1 more hope to pass that because it is a favored skill.
For the second roll right now.
Yep.
No, I didn't make it. I'll take the fatigue.
Oof.
Take your fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Baller.
Now, Goody also starts to sing.
And I sing along with you.
Everybody done 2.
So Vidar and Grimmer are taking turns passing each other up on the mountain.
It's become a personal contest at this point.
After 2, you guys you're basically like at the what do they call it? The Continental Divide, the top there. Someone moved the ring. You're like right up in here. And here it's like you have the worst night of your journey. It's cold. It's wet. It's freezing. There's wind whipping. So everybody does a corruption at 14.
Oh. I hate corruption.
Oh, baby!
Oof.
Good God Almighty, I killed it.
I gotta use a hoe.
Oh, I killed it. I am less corrupt than you, brother.
Me and Vidar are sitting there drinking.
I use a hoe.
What's the target on the corruption?
14.
14. Oh.
Yes.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Baron,
Barely we can hear you. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah. I had a total screen lock up. Thought I lost connection.
Baron just needs to make his hope test, yeah. Or his
corruption
test.
What's the level?
14.
14. Oh,
Oh.
that's hard. That could be worth it.
Otherwise, Shadow.
Temporary or permanent?
It's all temporary unless I say permanent.
Yep.
You get permanent if you have a bout of madness, then you get a permanent shadow.
Mm-hmm.
What's the detriment?
What's what? Excuse me.
What's the detrimental effect of taking a point of shadow?
That you have
Easier to fall into despair.
a permanent shadow. Like if that threshold starts creeping up, eventually you have a couple bouts of madness. Now you have hardly any shadow to work with. It's just you just fall to the dark side.
Yeah, it's like basically Arvel is like skirting with going mad because he only has 5 hope and 4 shadow.
Yeah,
so if
But
they
I can
meet,
actually,
right?
yeah, I can work this off though, right? The temporary shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
strategic
yeah, yeah.
phases.
Yeah, I'll take the temporary point. It is cold and bites my knee. Started having a force shell flashbacks.
Grimmer would pull out perhaps an old stout or something he's been packed away in his bag and starts to pass around some alcohol to warm your cockles this will, and take a swig and pass it over to Vidar.
Vidar will take it. Oh, a stout in this weather. Oh, I've never said this about another man before, but I think I love you. And he takes a big swig off of it, and his eyes just roll back. He says, "Oh, this is delicious."
It's Pride Month, Vidar. Don't be ashamed.
Were you intending on?
Over your beard.
Were you intending to share this with the rest of the group?
If they don't rightly know if they're drinkers or not. I suppose if they wanted a taste or two, I've got a few more in my bag, perhaps.
As you guys are discussing, there's a quiet, sneaky hobbit that's standing right beside you. So, Master Dwarves.
Vidar jumps.
I see you're drinking some fine ale this cold and frigid evening. Might not have noticed me, but I was singing along with your tardy song. It's not as fine as the poems I sing, but it will do. Yeah, have some of that dark, sweet, black liquid you're drinking.
Couldn't rightly refuse such a request as that, now could I? And he's right around. Here you are. Passes you. He's got a couple of different water skins tucked away, and some of them don't have water. So
Barandir's like shivering, trying to draw all the cloak, friggin' blankets around him. He's looking totally red-faced and miserable, kind of like the unhappy mother-in-law that got drug along on the camping trip. He's just kind of like going, I can't believe the two of them were in such a competition to get to the heights of this here in front of the mountain.
Yeah, Arvel is very similarly impeded. He's got his knees pulled up to his chest and he's kind of facing Barandir. And he's like, the sooner we're to the top, the sooner we go down.
Oh, these here are the mountains. Back home, we call this home.
Yeah.
clearly the stuff's gone through your brain already, brother. Oi, menfolk, you want us to knit you a couple blankets? Ribbing you.
Your stunted misconceptions of what a home should be is most likely the reason why your race is so small.
I could barely hear you between them clattering teeth, you big oaf. You want some of this alcohol, do you? It might warm your cockles.
It's not my cockles I'm worried about.
Put yourself then. Still back to drinking this stout and having a joyous time in this wonderful weather we're having.
The next few days, you start heading back down. It actually gets better. You still have one more travel check to make, though. It took over 2 weeks to basically get over this area.
Oh,
Wow. Oh, shit. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Travel.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
16. right?
Yeah, 16.
16, yeah.
Mm.
I'll eat that.
Nice,
I'll eat that.
Barandir.
That's only 2. I'll eat it.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat that.
Thank you, Gandalf.
On our way down, Vidar sees Grimoire trip and kind of roll down a little bit. And he looks over at him.
Goody was following Grimoire a little too closely, thinking that he could get some of that fine black liquid again, and he kind of trips and falls.
Just rolling down the hill for a little bit, stop and hit a, maybe bump into, rock. And then Goodwill bounces off me. Oh!
And
Master
Vidar,
Dwarf, I am usually very light and sure on my feet. I'm not quite sure what you gave me last night, but could I trouble you for some more?
And he's like, he's rooting around in his bag, and he pulls out the skin, but the water skin broke with the alcohol. Oh no! Oh.
Arvel steps over the the dwarf and the hobbit, kind of looks down, and he's like, perhaps you should worry about drinking when we're on the other side of this mountain.
As
And
always,
Vidar-
out of you are correct.
Vidar goes walking past Grimoire and Goodwill. And he looks at Grimoire and he just kind of smiles and nods at him. Is this your first time coming down a mountain?
Only the third time coming down as drunk as I must be. Oh, he gets up. I thought I was gonna sleep that off just fine. He helps the hobbit up.
It looks like I win.
Barandir don't say much. He just quickens his pace going down here the hill. He does make the one comment, like, I do believe that it's getting warmer this way.
I think that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me move the old ring here.
Oh, Barandir.
Oh, man.
So
Finally.
that's August 18th.
Jesus Christ. Right.
So what
Oh,
you
yeah,
hear?
The war's over. Sauron's been vanquished. I'm honestly curious how much time it would save to go through Moria compared to an overland route.
Well, that's why they went through Moria.
Indeed, indeed.
No, Moria was further down, wasn't it?
Well,
This wasn't
I'm
Moria.
saying that's why they.
Well, didn't
they-
no, they tried to go through the mountain pass, and Saruman like
Yeah,
Fucked it
he
up on
closed
him.
it.
he made it more difficult.
Yeah,
Bag
Avalanche.
move.
So you're heading back down out of the pass, and the snow is gone. It's starting to get much warmer, and now you guys are who's out? Who's the scout or whatever?
I think it's Aglaron. Is he
Yeah.
is he with us? I assume he is, right?
I'll just say he is.
Following from afar.
Aglaron. There we are. So Aglaron kind of comes up to you guys and we must make haste. Quickly, come with me. And he looks visibly frightened.
Arvel draws his sword and begins to run behind him. What is it? What is it, friend?
He kind of just looks down at the ground and points. And Eravul can see hoof marks. Or being followed, or someone beat us here.
Beat us here? He seems to... Very well, let's find somewhere we can... hide?
And
What was that noise?
Yeah.
in the distance, you hear a trying to find my wolf howl. Can't find it. Too many howls. Sword clang, actual wolf. There's a wolf. It's not a howl.
That growl was more menacing anyhow.
Ambient wolf howl sound effects. Oh, definitely more menacing.
Dane's beard. Axe coming out.
Yeah. So you kind of turn the corner and are met with a very, very menacing sight. Only one of them.
Only one Nazgul, that's it?
There was going to be all three, but that misdirection. Still might have to run.
Eravul's the one who could probably hurt him.
Probably true. 'Cause I've got the spirit blade or whatever.
So you turn the corner and there's two wolves there, and even without knowing the lore, you know that the wolves are they always come with Sauron. He's known as the Lord of Wolves. And as you turn the corner, the Black Rider's standing there on his steed, and he just and dismounts, and you hear these iron-shod boots hit the ground. And it almost makes a sound way out of proportion to how big he is, almost like a superhero hitting the ground. Just and he draws a big long sword and points it towards you. You, Lord of the West, give me the halfling and you shall go unharmed.
Arvel, with his sword drawn, kind of switches it between his hands and kind of does a not a flourish for the sake of being fancy or anything, just probably kind of a nervous tick as he swings his sword around kind of at his side, and he looks at this creature before him and says, "Never! Back to the shadow with you!"
Very well. Then you will all die, and the halfling will come with us. Over your slain bodies, you cur. What are you guys doing?
I guess I'm going defensive.
Forward.
Vidar not having it without being able to meta this, not knowing that he probably can't wound him, goes forward. I can't click my token.
Yeah, why am I not?
You can't click your token?
No. Oh.
No,
yeah,
you're in the wrong.
I got
There
you.
we go.
I was
I
about
got
to say it.
We know. Help us, Aglaron. You're our only hope.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna give Goody access to Agaron here.
May his rolls be better today.
Yeah.
You guys
You
are gonna
see,
try to-
my rolls the last 2 days have been very interesting. This
His
Try-
might not
fate
be
is in your
good.
hands, Goody.
We got a double barrel hobbit.
Fire by a volley from the rearward rank.
I'll try to fight him. Oh gosh. All right, let's kick it off then.
You're
I
the
wanna
one that
see-
put him there, and you're like, you're going all. He's like all dejected, like, oh, you're gonna fight him, huh? You put him there. Like, everybody on the count 3, haul ass. I'm like,
Yeah, we are.
We'll find out shortly. Don't worry.
We're on
let's see.
foot.
Only one of them. Probably.
Only one of them.
Just
Uh,
one.
Let me see here. So he's going to roll battle. So whoever has the highest battle among y'all.
Careful.
Yeah, that's me.
So he's going to roll his battle.
Embrace the challenge.
What's your battle?
Oh!
If he
Oh,
beats that, I'm
four.
scared to death.
That's a vocation, I believe.
Battle is a vocation.
What
I'm
is
going to
your
work today to
profession?
battle.
That is under vocation, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
It is.
I think he was asking the numeric value.
Yeah.
Oh my
+8.
god. Holy smokes.
Well, Well, is it number based or is it successes based?
Did you get a great success?
I had an extraordinary.
Extraordinary
success.
success.
that wins then. Yeah,
Well done.
you guys go first.
Oh,
All right,
shit.
let's roll your battle die. You can't use that one, by the way, for your
Oh, that's unfortunate.
your bonus. That's just to see who goes first.
Oh, shit.
No.
I got 2. Oh my god, guys.
I see you.
Oh, shit.
I guess that's fitting given the circumstances.
I do believe
How many eyes you got? 2 so far.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ian can actually, I think he can. Well, can you reroll it for? Yeah, it's not an attack. I guess you could. Consider it a general.
Yeah, it's a normal skill. Yeah. My men of
But
valor
he
and
can
wisdom.
void his I
So
think.
Vidar give yourself 2 bonus.
Yeah, I get a reroll mine because of men of valor in battle.
Mm-hmm.
Aglaron gets a great success.
Woohoo!
There you go.
Guess I'm the only one who fucked up. Good.
I get what, 3?
And I got 2.
Yeah.
Hell symbol is that? Y'all?
Great success is 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, volleys.
Oh yeah, hold on. Where's that?
Oh, I didn't kill myself.
No.
Suicide.
All right. Let's go from back to front.
My knee.
I'm giving up the will to live.
Right, for volleys.
So Goody's gonna shoot at the at this.
Yeah, get rid of this thing.
Go. Yeesh.
Misses Agleron.
Agleron is gonna go for the Nazgul.
What? Oh my god. This is gonna be a fun fight,
24.
boys.
Misses.
Wow.
TN 20.
We had
Oh,
to
doesn't
fight.
matter.
There's gonna be 3 of those things. Oh my
Well,
God.
we would.
We have to
if
run.
that happened, yeah. Like,
We have to
for
run.
right now, this looks okay. Until the fight
Yeah,
starts.
you might not. In character, you might not even know. You know.
Yeah, exactly. No, we wouldn't. I don't think we'd know they're impervious in character. We don't know. We know they're scared.
I have old
No.
lore, so would I know based on the old lore trait?
Oh, yeah. Does he know about these things? Does he?
I
know
know what a Nazgul is. We've already established
Mhm.
that, but
But you know, like how you just know they're bad, right?
yeah,
Why don't you give me like a TN18C?
On lore, that's
Ready
gonna be
for
a
your
tough one.
eye.
Oh, that's old. But you have the trait though. So
Yeah, I
roll
have the
twice.
trait.
Roll twice and keep the best one.
Mmm. Mmm.
He knows.
You know that normal blades can't hurt these, but you also know that Finarful gave you that special blade, and
So it's all up to you. Bye.
Radagast said,
Does he know
Radagast said,
about-
all you need is in your heart and your blade by your side, right?
Yeah.
Does he know about fire? Doesn't fire hurt him?
I would think with Adolf, he would know that much, right?
Well, it'd be a great success either way.
Adolf with a great success.
They do have fear of fire. They
So
do have fear of fire.
Arvel.
You know that
basic-
too, yeah. I
yeah.
think you know that.
Okay, Arvel. Wait! The Nazgul. Do we have torches? I'm assuming we do, right?
I don't know if you would really.
It's summer.
Like just summer, you're coming down.
Yeah.
It's warm down here. You're at the foot of the mountains now.
You're just gonna have to be a big, strong boy for us, Erebol.
Yep, it's you. We'll take the wolves.
Arvel basically says, "I don't think you can hurt it." And he looks at his blade and says, "Keep the wolves off me." And he kind of steps forward towards the Nazgul.
Yeah, I never rolled a volley. Did everybody else, or just
Yeah.
No, we kind of just
Baronir
Yeah.
can roll one still.
yeah, shoot the northernmost wolf?
Twang.
Yes. But you guys get to go first. So, and you outnumber them, so you get to you pick where you match up.
So
Wolf
Vidar,
and
hearing Erebol say, yelling, "Your weapons won't hurt them. Your weapons won't hurt them. Keep the wolves off me." He immediately goes to this wolf here, and he's taking a few steps forward. And as the wolf comes to lunge at him, he swings his mattock.
Oh my god.
Wow!
Oh!
Wow!
Whoa! The thing is, you could probably heart that. I mean, you could probably hope that and actually hit it.
Is it body?
I think so.
And Tien,
Attack.
Yeah.
Tien as well. Tien as well.
You just need 6, yeah.
Yeah, I will hope that and hit him. He kind of stumbles at first over a clod in the ground or something like that, but he quickly regains his balance and makes contact with his mattock.
It snarls back at you.
A lot of ones.
Grimmer.
Great axe out, sprinting towards the other wolf. Come here to put you in! Swings.
Sun's out, axe out.
Oh, bye-bye.
Get absolutely dominated.
9 plus.
9 plus is double my character, so 21. Same as my roll. It's double. It's your character damage twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 21.
That kills him.
That's 23, right?
14. Yeah, you're right. I can't count. Yeah, 23. So Grimmer runs up and come here to put you in, and the wolf obliges and just head off, send it flying, do a little it's like a spin. My momentum carries me a 360 spin.
Vidar sees you do that, and he yells over, "Does everything have to be a competition with you?"
Oh, I'm just getting started. I'm gonna show you this thing can bleed. Obviously, not knowing that, not taking Airwolf probably at his word. He's like, anything can be killed. But so I'm going after the Nazgul next.
Barondir.
Berendir, he is in the open.
Mm-hmm.
Though it's not an actual Inspire attempt, I want to lead off with something as I move in towards the Alpha Wolf. Because Berendir does have Shadow Lore as a special trait, so spotting the Nazgul, his face overwhelms with a brief, or actually an extended panic, but then he takes a deep breath and his brow furrows as he strides forward with his blade. He basically starts chanting. You can't tell if it's a prayer or a charge, an insult, or an inspire or what, but he just sums up as he goes in. He goes, "Till victory is won, into the shadow I go with teeth bared, screaming my defiance until the last breath is drawn, to spit in Sauron's eye on my dying breath. Come now, brothers, and let our hearts heave as one." And he's going after the wolf.
Spit in that eye. Oh my god.
Oh,
You guys are rolling well.
Good God
Yeah.
Almighty, he's killed him.
19.
That's edge too.
Yeah, it's wound, and then it's also 19.
Yeah, 19. He's dead. So how does that look like there?
well, I injured him for you first.
He just goes in. He's going in his external demeanor. He's trying to be the badass. Internally, he's thinking today may be the day that most of us meet our fucking demise. But he's going to be a good soldier to the last. So he goes in, strides purposefully, making his comment, and then he goes to the wolf who's already engaged with Vidar. He basically goes shoulder to shoulder, bumps into the dwarf, and extends the shield to fend off the wolf. And then when the moment presents itself, he just thrusts upward into the throat and upper chest area of the wolf, and his blade just goes all the way to the hilt and just coats his hand. Wolf lets out like a... Then he just yanks his blade out. And he's basically going back to back with Vidar.
So Arvel, seeing that, kind of, he's walking forward, but he's making himself do so. Everything is telling him to turn around and run. He's like swinging his blade back and forth, kind of like almost like he's getting the nerve to do what he's about to do, and then suddenly he just decides there's only one thing he can really do, and that's essentially charge the thing, only he's being as defensive as he can as he does so. So he kind of like runs up to the Nazgul and He tries to like spin away and swing at the back of the thing's legs as he comes forward. I'm afraid he's going to hit me once and I'll be weary. So I'm going to use both my bonus die as well. Okay.
We need an eagle.
Whoa!
Well,
you can hope it.
Yeah, that make me miserable, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh no, I have bonus die. I said I was using bonus.
You do.
Die, so
Roll
I
them.
gotta use them both. But
Yeah, so it's guaranteed hit at least.
yeah, so here's the first one,
Ooh.
and here's the second one.
Oh my
All right,
God.
well that's
almighty.
extraordinary
Yes.
success.
Holy shit.
How much
I
damage is that?
rolled 4 6s, not that it matters, but
Yeah. So it'd be 2. Your character damage was it's gonna be 12
6,
plus 9,
yeah.
right? 21.
mhm, yeah. Grievous, yeah.
You have earned his ire.
Great. So basically, I spin and I just hack deep into the back of his legs so far that it's almost difficult for me to rip my sword out. I'm not sure. He seems that that's he's probably very surprised to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that was an amazing
The only
attack.
could have been better is if you would have rolled an edge. That's the only way that
Yeah.
could have been better.
Wow.
All right. Ranged guys.
Ting, 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 ting.
You just RP it. You just RP, like pegging with arrows and
Yeah.
What is the horse doing?
eating some grass.
The horse is going to get it.
Oh, he's shooting at the horse.
Yeah, you
That's
can
not a
challenge-
bad idea. Go for it.
Yeah.
Can't chase us then, or at least.
That's the horse. I don't know how you want to do that. That's for Goody. As he sees, as Goody sees Araviel swing that.
No, yeah. So yeah. So the horse actually is like 15 yards away, kind of restlessly pacing back and forth, like almost like a dog that spends too much time in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets hit by what's RP this gets hit by an arrow. It's, and you see it snort, and there's like jets of steam coming out of its nostrils. And it looks over towards you and starts to gallop toward your direction.
Aglaron shoots. I don't know what Aglaron would do. I guess he would shoot the. He would
Shoot the
shoot
horse.
Nazgul.
Shoot the
Yeah.
horse.
He would see you shoot the horse, and he would shoot at the horse.
Agron
Lord.
still is terrible.
Jesus Christ! And
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who's rolling for him.
That's the load of Aglaron.
So
Agron
this-
can't hit shit.
This horse is charging you, like gaining speed faster and faster towards Goody and Aglaron, towards the real ranks. And you see its eyes are just glowing this dark ice blue with a red center. And Aglaron is dismayed and misses and is continuing towards you. Next round, it's going to reach you.
Nice.
And the Nazgul. Nazgul looks stunned. What is this? The man of the West has a sword that bites. Something I have not felt in ages. Ha ha ha. But alas, it is good to feel the thrill of combat again. And before the day is over, I will drain your blood into this Middle Earth, and you will scream.
Let's run.
Yeah.
And so he's going to attack you. He's going to spend a point of hate.
Oh, but he's a ton
He
of
takes his long sword, throws it into his right hand, and takes a swipe at you.
Please roll Gandalf.
That's not a Dolph.
Not that either. So you take damage of 7.
Mm-hmm.
Gets to go again immediately with his secondary attack, though. Reaches at you with his claw on the other end, trying to grab your throat and just slam you into the ground.
Oh no!
Not an edge, so it's going to be 8 plus 8 is going to be 16 damage.
Shit.
Oh. We're going to have to drag his ass out of here.
So yeah, so what this looks like is he cuts you with the sword, and then like grabs you with his giant gauntleted hand around your throat, lifts you up, and looks into your face and says, "It is here you will die, man of the West." And he just slams you to the ground.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you weary?
Yes.
All right. There's only one bad guy now.
Yeah.
So Vidar, seeing the horse rushing towards Goodwill and Aglaron, he runs over and tries to put himself between, and he takes his mattock and he almost like a golf move, he swings it low and does almost an uppercut to hit the horse running at them, so that it can't get them. But I don't have an enemy to attack, so
Just use the Nazgul.
okay.
Misses. So the horse is flying past you to rate of speed. You try to get to it, you don't.
Go ahead, Grimmer.
You going forward? Yes, you might as well.
I mean, he's gonna hit me
man.
anyways.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I'm trying to think of what I could do to either distract him or try to get a hold of him or something. Cause
I mean,
I can't hurt him.
even if we can't hurt him, we can physically push him back, right? I mean,
I just want to distract him because Erebol. I just saw Erebol get pounded, and he
Yeah.
said that he. So, oh man. Is there anything for me to try to distract him? I don't really know how I would do it, but
I don't know,
let's see.
man.
Just maybe try to bull rush him and charge him, make him pay attention to me. Just try to push him around. I don't know. And he's still physical. He's not
Just
not
like
like a
bowl,
ghost.
just like bowl into him.
Just bull rush him, yeah. Like not even a weapon swing. Just try to football.
So do athletics versus athletics.
Oh shit, he's gonna demolish me.
I mean, this is not a guy you're supposed to.
I'll try it. Why not?
I'm supposed to be making you guys have fear checks every time you attack them. I'm not doing that.
We'll try to. I'll try the tackle. I got nothing else to do right now.
we've got to run. We've got to run.
Oh shit! I'll hope it for 7 additional, so it's 16.
Oh my God!
I don't. I won't make you spend that hope.
I stated I would. I'm gonna do it.
Grab
You try to-
Erebol.
Yeah, you try to like smash into him, and with that gauntleted hand, he just like forearm shivers you and pushes you back. You fly back like 10 meters.
Oh my God! We've got to go. Berendir, grab Erebol. We've got to get out of here.
Arvel kind of So as he hits the ground and back of his head kind of slams against the ground, and he's like seeing stars essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of gets to his knees slowly, his sword still somehow in his hand. Just says, "Go. Go." And he kind of like limps to his feet and makes a desperate stab towards the Nazgul's chest.
Oh my god.
Now,
He just bats it away with his gauntleted hand, and
Use the
And you-
hope.
your sword just shakes in your hand. You almost lose it.
Oh my god.
Barondir.
Yeah, let me turn the volume down.
I got it.
No, it was on my. I can do it on my end. Yeah, as the Nazgul wounds Erevel, Barondir's face grows dark and angry, and he looks hellbent and fervent on doing something towards the Nazgul. And as Erevel gets wounded and he hears his cries telling him to go, the initial response is he looks right at the Nazgul, trying to quell down and choke himself on swallowing all the fear. He goes, "You who harmed my liege and all who take your side, this shall be your last hour, so let your steel be tried. Turn to face me upon this timeless plane. Kill me if you can, for your death is now my life." And then, as the darkness he's engrossed in it, he kind of turns and realizes the seriousness of the situation and the depths of Erevel's wounds, and he ponders for a moment. And instead of drawing his sword, he reaches for the horn, and he starts to add, he goes, "And the wind will bear my cry to all who hope to fly. Hear the shout of courage, ride into the night. Battles are fought by those with the courage to believe, and they are won by those who find the heart to share. And this heart that feels the soul of his brothers will point the way to victory. So know this, if there's a fight, I'll always be there by your side. Oh yes, I will be there." And he will blow the horn as loud as he can, the Nazgul. So, in addition to blowing the horn for whatever it does, he will also attempt his Inspire roll, spending 2 battle dice on the Inspire roll.
Oh wow.
All right, so everybody gets 2. Oh yeah, wait.
Well,
roll
yeah,
D6.
maybe some more.
So as Barondir steps forth, and there's a scene of the Nazgul lording over Erevel, his gauntleted fist, and the Nazgul kind of spins this black blade in his right hand, and Grimmer's on the ground, Noxilly, and there's the horse charging towards Vidar and Goodwill and Aglaron. You can see down in the valley, there's like a brilliant little, almost like a reflection, little point of light. And the horse kind of slows its gallop and kind of stops and neighs, actually turns around as if he senses something down the valley. And the light, the shining light, the bright star gets brighter and brighter until you see 2 horses galloping towards you. The first horse is brilliant white, and atop the horse is a man with a flowing gray cloak as he raises his staff into the air. And this bright light rings out. The Nazgul. As Glorfindel, his hair flying, rides forth, and he raises his bright gleaming sword, and just like the staff, it just rings into the air and seems to refract off the mountaintops. The horse wheels around, and Nazgul kind of staggers back, and the horse comes and picks him up, and he runs up the path and down around the mountains out of view, leaving Erebul and the others there. And the two horses clod up, clop, 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 and this bright light kind of boom dims down. And now you just see an old man atop a horse that's not shining white, but more of a dapple gray. And you see Glorfindel. And we're going to end it there.
Oh my god.
And for the record, none of that was staged either, honestly.
Not much of this session was written.